Welcome to Unshakeable, the podcast that shares stories of resilience in the face of life's toughest challenges. I'm your host, Siviwe Shakes Soizwapi, and each week we dive into real conversations that not only inspire but help us grow, offering insights on how to navigate our own struggles with strength and purpose. Because resilience isn't about being unbreakable, it's about standing firm when life tries to shake you. This is Unshakeable. Let's get into it. Hello, Unshakable family. Welcome back to yet another episode. Each and every week it gets exciting. I'm excited again to sit here. I just want to firstly say thank you to Southern Sun Hotel de Wagen Stellenbosch. I also want to say thank you to Mountain Falls. We're able to use the space because of Southern Sun, and we are hydrated before, during, and after each episode. So today, our guest, born and bred, he grew up in Port Elizabeth, went to Grey High, moved down to Stellenbosch at a stage in his life. Maybe for a better school, I'll let him explain that himself. But he came to Paul Roos from Grey High, and after that became a professional triathlete. Today I'm sitting down with Jamie RIDDLE. Jamie, thank you so much, man. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Shakes. It's an honor. I've looked up to you for a lot of my career, so it's pretty cool to sit down and just have a regular chat.
Awesome. You don't want to touch on the grey Paul Roos thing.
It depends on which side of the world I am, and then I claim which school I need to be claiming. But honestly, both incredible boys rugby schools, and it shaped like who I am today.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty. Like I've always said, I always get asked, someone that's traveled worldwide, where do you want to live one day? Like, is South Africa home? Would you relocate? And it's like, I think the biggest part about South Africa is being able to send your son, if you can, to like a traditional boys' school, or your daughter to a traditional girls' school. It's such an incredible schooling system we have that is still rooted in so many like good morals, and very fortunate to be able to go to both those schools.
No, for sure, and I think that's our strength within our sports and education in the country. So I'm also from the Eastern Cape. Grey is really a really good school. I can echo that. Like you said, you looked up to me, but I think with the relationship that we had immediately when I also moved down to Stellenbosch, we were lucky enough to be both part of the Under Armour group, and at the time already I was like, okay, I can see the light. He's got a lot of passion, and he's got a lot of vision, and a big dreamer. But where my respect really, when you earned my respect the most, was when you competed in the World Cup 2018 Elite in Cape Town. And I think you came 32nd place.
Wow, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
And after that race, your mindset and attitude was, we go again, we're gonna get better, this is only the beginning. Wow. At that age, I think you were 17, how did you have such a mindset?
That's actually incredible you remind me of that, because even, I don't know, like you can obviously attest to this, like when you're in the journey and you're in you just turning the wheel as each year goes by and searching for the next big thing, you kind of forget where it all started. And that was actually my first ever professional elite race. So triathlon is extremely confusing in terms of when are you a pro, what level is it, what races classifies you as the best in the world, right?
Yes.
And that was my first real throw in the deep end moment. And I just remember being very grateful and honored to represent my country. It was a dream of mine for all my life. Yeah. And then 32nd, it's a bit of a slap in the face, or a wake up call to be like, wow, you are so far away from where you thought you were. But I don't know where exactly that mindset was, just get up and go again. But I was brought up with in particular my father, who really instilled some great values in me. Yes. and instilled not only the mentality to win, but I feel the mentality for life and the understanding that it is true, fall down 7, get back up 8. And so my whole life and even today, I'm still in this journey, and I'm starting to love the journey even more. I just shared I had a really difficult last 3 weeks, a couple of weeks ago, and I think for the first time in my life I had so much enjoyment in this difficult period, because as each knockdown comes, I'm learning to embrace it more. So I think like even from a young age, I had that instilled in me.
Why do you enjoy it so much now?
Because it's extremely difficult to like let go and accept that our lows is where our greatest growth is going to lie. And, you know, as a sportsman, ultimately your job title is to perform.
Yeah.
And to perform all the time. And no other person experiences this more than like you and the box.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you guys have a bad game or a bad tournament, it's just like everyone's on your case. And to some extent, same for me. Like, you know, there's always going to be people questioning that. So lows always came with a backfire from the public, or from maybe not only the public but yourself. Yeah. So over the years, it's extremely difficult to love that. But as I've now started to share my journey so vulnerably and so open and honest, I've realized that the most impact I can have is when I express those lows.
Yes.
And so allowing me to share my journey and being super raw in those lows,
now you have been,
has made me witness, you know, what can happen if you can be open and honest. So to circle back, it's essentially the understanding that not only for myself my greatest growth comes in those periods, but for others that's where they relate, because everyone is going through a struggle today.
That's so true.
All the time.
Yeah.
You're either coming out of something or you're about to go into something.
Yeah.
And that's a tricky part about life, but that's the beautiful part too, I think.
That's beautiful. And I must say that's the one thing I admire about you. The openness, like sharing openly. And a lot of people that are representing the country or are competing at the highest level don't always have the courage to do that. And people, honestly, that's what they relate to, like you say. Everyone is facing something or they're about to. The story of your dad as well, and that was also something for me over the years that I always thought was pretty cool, because he competed in a couple of Ironmans as well. And I think particularly the day when I saw a photo of you, I think it was 2 years back, I saw a photo of you running with him, or with him and a friend of his. I think he was also a pro, and you are running ahead. But that picture paints a true portrait of who Jamie Riddle is today. And that's why I say, like, initially I was like, okay, you can see there's something here, but after that first race that you had, I gained even more respect and for you. So that first race, when you crossed the finish line, for that was the first time you actually crossed the finish line professionally. So how was that feeling?
It was a sprint finish, I remember, for 32nd or 37th place, whatever it was. And that's something that I definitely will like be proud of, is like, doesn't matter if I'm racing for 40th or first place, like I've got that dog in me in that sprint finish. So crossing that line, I can for sure say the immediate motions were very little, because you kind of dazed out. But there is something incredibly beautiful about pushing yourself to the ends of what you perceive is your limit. And every single time I cross the finish line and I've exerted myself, it is such a euphoric and flow state. I always say it's like a flow state that you can't copy that anywhere else except for on, like, or at least for me, like in the battle of sports. And that's why I think sport is so beautiful. And you know what's even more beautiful is you do not need to be winning races to experience that. All you need to do is push to the ends of your capabilities. So I remember crossing that line and like being like, this is not what I had dreamt of for this moment, but it's also at the exact same time everything I'd ever dreamt of. Because 30, who cares, 37th, right? If I came third that day, or fifth that day, or seventh that day, at one point in my life, or after my life is all said and done, people are going to forget my name regardless.
So true.
So it doesn't really matter. It's really just about like my own growth internally, and then what I can do for other people. And yeah, that's where the dream and the purpose now lies, is extends so much further than just me swim, biking and running.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty simple.
Nah, that's awesome. Moving down to Stellies, do you mind just sharing on how that actually happened for you? Because if I have my facts correct, your sister was gonna move down, and then you, I think you had a chat with your dad, a family talk, and it was like, if these three things happen, then this is gonna happen. Everyone's gonna move down. And when that decision was made, were you moving down to pursue a career in a more developed city, or for you, what was the thinking at the time?
Shakes, I am blown away that you even know that. I feel like I've never even said that story. Maybe one time on one podcast. That is incredible research. But yes, you're exactly right. So my sister had come to Stellenbosch University to study physiotherapy.
Okay.
And at the time we were all still in Becha.
Yeah.
And then she had said, like, she was going through a really difficult period, and she said, like, oh, it'd be so amazing if you guys not just move here, or like something like that. And then my parents were like, oh, we'd love to, like, whatever, but you know, Jamie's still in school. And I immediately piped up and I was like, Stellenbosch, if we can go to Stellenbosch, this is exactly what I need to make this dream a reality. Reason being is because everyone, the cream of the crop, were training here. Like Jan Frodeno, Tim Don, Flora Duffy, Jody Swallow, James Cunnamo, Bradley Weiss. The list was endless. Like these are, in my field, like those names I just said are like, I hate saying royalty because they're not royalty, but they're the best of the best. And I was like 15 at the time. And like I've always been, I've just been like, you know, throw me in the deep end. What a privilege to be able to learn from people 15 years older than you. And I still have that inside of me today. Like, if you ask my girlfriend or the people closest to me, like, what I do in my spare time, I listen to, like, I read books and I listen to podcasts endlessly, because I want to try and learn from people that have already done like so many more years, not more than me, just like life. There's certain life lessons that you can't learn without time.
True.
And whether the person be 30, 40, 50, 60, you can learn something from them. Now, I know that, you know, in the Bible it says wisdom comes from the word and not from years. However, there is still like nuggets of information you can still like take from people.
No, for sure. And to be honest with you, that is the reason for this podcast as well. And that's it's about learning from other people and growing. And I'm so stoked that you actually mentioned that. So in moving down, coming to Paul Roos, okay, this is the dream. You know exactly what you want. And so now, while you were still in school, you are obviously not a triathlete. You did athletics and
rugby.
Thank you. I just wanted to hear how it all came together, because obviously you still had to run. You still had to swim somewhere, even though you'll touch on the swimming element, which got better over time. Rugby.
Yes. Before we jump into that, there's one very important piece of the puzzle I forgot to mention, is that I have somewhat always been a believer in Christ, but in my school period, and then especially after school in university, I had really never had a close relationship with the Lord. However, to come back to those three things that got us here in Stellenbosch, it is I still find it very fascinating how, even though I was not necessarily, in the Word and praying and these sorts of things, I still believe that it was God's plan for me to be here, because those three things that we talk about was it. At the time my father said it, these three things need to happen. We need to sell the restaurant that had just been flooded. We needed to get accepted into Paul Roos within 2 months, and into Paul Roos that's next to impossible. We need to find a flat within this period. We need this sort of money to come through, and then all of it just went and I was here in the next 2 months. And that is only by God saying, here's the door, Jamie, there is something big on the horizon, but you need to be here. Amazing. And you need to go here. And then I guess also to tie into someone that is believing that maybe, okay, Jamie, that's a beautiful story, but like God didn't open doors for me. And I have empathy and I grieve with that too, because there's lots of situations in peers and training partners where they're still banging on the door and nothing's happening, and they're not believers or whatever the case may be. I don't have the answers for that, but what I can attest for is that God opened that door for me, and I'm here today, and I'm forever grateful, and I hope that the story arc is going to end in me being able to open doors for others. Now that I went on that tangent, I kind of forgot what we were talking about. Oh, rugby, yes. So the rugby thing, so when I was in school, my dad encouraged me to dream big, but he didn't want to put it on me on what to dream big about. So he put me into everything and was like, do everything because you can learn something from anything. So it was water polo, rugby, cricket. It was life-saving, everything. Yeah. And I reached a pretty high level in, I feel like, most of the sports. I even got like almost, I was one round away from making the provincial team in Eastern Cape. So yeah, but like it was tricky because at the time, it was the biggest thing was to play rugby, right? Yeah. And it still is today. And to really like to make the decision to say, okay, well, I'm going to leave the sport that as a 16-year-old brought me the most clout or the most like whatever was quite a decision, right? Because it is like that. Like if you're in the A-team rugby team, like you're not getting bullied. Like you're immediately out of that situation. For sure. You have friends, you're immediately out of that situation. So yeah, it was a tricky decision, but yeah, it was deep inside was just like, yeah, this is what it is for me.
What position did you play?
I started as a fly half and then I went to scrum half.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Thought so.
I was a lot shorter than I am now. So.
If I look at you now, I would put you at fullback. So that's exactly what I was thinking. And you can run all day. So what does a typical training week look like for you now in triathlon?
Sorry, it's getting warm in here. I'm just going to quickly...
Yeah, no stress. Take your time.
Typical week as a triathlete. Okay, so...
Like I said to you, every day I click on my Instagram, you're training.
And it is somewhat true. Sorry, people. It's either you're going to see my sweat or I'm going to just take a bit of time. So a typical triathlon week of training... It is every day now, especially because I've got major competitions coming. Yes. Beginning of the year, I had intentionally taken like a day off on a Sunday because I really felt like I needed that. Also spiritually, I needed that. But now I'm in a full phase where I'm training every single day, typically 3 times a day. So Monday. Yeah, every day is swim, bike, and run. So I run about 7 to 8 times a week. Okay. So that means you have to run twice sometimes. Okay. I bike approximately 5 times a week. Yeah. I swim about 4 times a week, and I gym about 2 times a week. And
so you say you have to do everything in the week, or each day it has to comprise of each?
Yeah, I just say almost because like today I didn't do the bike, but I did swim and run. So for most days, let's call it 6 out of the 7, I'm training swim, bike, and run every day, and that's usually ranging from 3.5 to 6 hours, 7 hours a day of active work. So from the moment we start the watch, if we stop at a light, we've got to switch it off. That's quite interesting.
Nice.
But it is extremely difficult. I feel like
and probably balancing that as well. Like all 3.
Yeah, no, that's the trickiest part, I guess. But yeah, I wouldn't really have it any other way.
No, for sure.
I think it really pushes me to the furthest of my being. Yeah. Just every single day.
And you just love it, don't you?
Yeah, I do love it. It's a love-hate relationship because it is extremely difficult. Yeah. But I think the privilege of being able to choose your poison is like one of the best hacks I ever got taught. Yep. I can either pick to endure 5 to 7 hours of training a day. I could pick to be in an office for 12 hours, and I chose what I wanted. And man, every single day I get to wake up and be grateful for the life I live.
Amazing. Do you mind just explaining triathlon to people? Like, I think for myself as well, the Ironman was biggest thing I've actually ever, and thank you to the fact that I was in PE for 4 years, so it was there each and every year that I was there. But just the entry level from sprint and all the way to the highest level.
Yes. So as I said in the beginning, it's super complicated as like someone sitting outside that's not super invested.
Yeah.
But I feel like anything in any sort of sport, as soon as you get like involved, it actually becomes quite simplistic. So the easiest way to explain it is there's 3 distances.
Yeah.
You got the short course space, you got the medium middle course, and you have the long course. Short course is essentially the Olympic Games. If you want to go to the Olympic Games, you need to take part in the short course league, which is the World Triathlon League. And this league is races all over the globe. It's kind of like the rock star or like rock star lifestyle, you know. You pack up in Australia, you go to Dubai, you race, these sorts of things, kind of like sevens, I would guess. And that is extremely difficult league, and in that league there's 4 divisions. So call it like DCBA. And to get to A, you have to start at D, and you have to accumulate enough points to get to A. Pretty simple. So that's the short course scene done. Then you've got the next scene, which is the middle course, and that is called T100. It's a relatively new series that they are pumping a lot of money into it and a lot of like contracts, but it's only signing the top 20 men and the top 20 women of our sport, and that is essentially like our glamorous like Grand Slam or our PGA Golf Tour version. That is really where the money is in our sport, and that is a 100-kilometer distance. That's why it's called T100. It's a 2K swim, an 80K bike, and an 18K run, and you only get there on invite only, and you don't really represent your country, you represent your own brand. Now you can obviously choose to represent your country in terms of like you can style your tri-suit how you want it, and you can carry whatever message you want, but it is a very individual. You don't need to go through any federational stuff. It's kind of like a private league. That's the middle course. Then you've got the long course scene, which is the full Ironman, and part of that, because it's a pro series, so it's called the Ironman Pro Series, and it composes of 3 full Ironmans and 2 half Ironmans, makes a cumulative points to get your position in the world, right? So, and in the Ironman, what's cool about the Ironman series is it's a lot more open. So for example, the middle course, you have to be invite only. So for myself, for example, I wasn't top 20 in the world, but then I got a wild card, which is basically a card that they give to people that they think deserve a shot over someone else. You get your chance, you either prove that you were there to stay, or you get chucked out. So those are the 3 distances, and everything is outside of South Africa except for that one Ironman, which is in South Africa. And then the Discovery was here, but then the one that you watched, but it's gone now. So everything's overseas, and all the money's overseas and everything.
Oh, nice. Now I also learned something. I'm sure everyone else learned a thing or two as well. So with your training, do you go on your own? Do you prefer having training partners or training with people?
Much of a muchness for me. Like it comes in different periods. It's not like you sevens, you'll have like a squad and that's your team and you play with them. So I like right now I'm in South Africa, in Stellies, and I'm training probably 2-3 months here, and I'm completely alone every single session. Me and my thoughts.
That's tough.
But then there's periods like I'll leave to London in early August, do a race, and then I'll go to France and join 2 friends. But we all have different coaches, and we just there to just do the easy miles together, the junk miles we say. But for the most part, it is a lot of just me and my own thoughts.
Nice. Talking about coaches, tell us a story about when you met your coach.
It's quite a funny story. So he's Swiss, but he's this. I think European people are just slightly different or wired differently. But I was super young. I think I was 16, 17, and I was swimming, and he was coaching a friend of mine at the time, and he essentially just stopped me and said, like, you swim, and I'm not going to use the word, but like you swim terribly, absolutely terribly. And he was just like, give me 6 weeks. If I can improve your mile time in the swimming, would you consider getting coached by me? And I remember we started, and I was like, yeah, sure. Of course, that was my weakness at the time. So I was like, let's go for it. And He improved about 40 seconds, and in like 6 weeks, which is unheard of in swimming, because like seconds are, you fight for seconds. And basically we've had a relationship ever since then, 8-9 years in.
Like, did you know him when he came to you with that suggestion, or?
I knew he was coaching my friend.
Okay.
I knew he was coaching actually two of my friends at the time. But I didn't know him from a bar of soap. Like, I didn't know him at all. So it was quite a bold thing to say, but like he wasn't wrong. Like, he was right. I grew up playing water polo and like surfing, so my swim stroke and everything was just so horribly wrong. And
And do you enjoy it now, the swimming element?
I do. I enjoy all of what I do. There's days where you absolutely hate it, and there's days where you absolutely love it. That famous Instagram reel went crazy, the rule of thirds. A third of the time you got to love it, a third of the time it's going to be okay, and a third of the time you're going to hate it. And that's like the recipe for like real improvement, I believe. So but it is, in all three of my sports, it is very therapeutic. You know, like, you know, when you're playing rugby and Oza's screaming and there's like life threats of people trying to attack you, that's not very therapeutic to me. But like being in the water, trying to find your flow state, trying to find rhythm, hearing the water like just brush past your ears, it is a beautiful, beautiful sensation across the board of all three sports. And that's why you often see like, you know, ex-rugby or like retired rugby players go do the Ironman. Like, I know Oli LaRue's done it. I think John Smith. I saw Victor Matfield there, kind of representing. So,
I wanted to ask you about, you know, now the guys that we've played professional sports, now we think we can take that on, but it takes a certain mentality. And what type of mentality would you say that you need to
above all perseverance. Above all perseverance, like there is a talent aspect to it, like especially to go professional. Like, you will never, it's not, unfortunately not one of those sports that if you have no talent you can make it. You really have to have a God-given talent to transport oxygen, essentially, in the simplest way put, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to transport oxygen efficiently. So there is a talent aspect to it. However, like, even if you look across the board, like, you know, we talk about like sportsmen that go and do the Ironman, or even just do like the half marathon or marathon. I find it like sometimes quite funny how like the girlfriend or the wife might be faster than, because it's not necessarily like a testosterone can get you very far. I mean, the guys are obviously faster than the women, but it is still an aspect of perseverance and really a proof in the pudding. Like, your dedication is demonstrated in your craft. And I think, you go over to triathlon and you realize, okay, I have to relearn a lot of things and unlearn a lot of my habits, and then, you know, embark on this journey that is, it's incredibly difficult regardless of what stage you're in.
How would you say you cultivate that mindset?
Myself or someone else? Or both?
Let's give the people that are trying to take it on advice.
Well, I think actually, I mean, the truest answer is the answer that it for me is not necessarily the same answer for someone else, but the message is the same. Like, perseverance is something far deeper than motivation, and perseverance is something far deeper than reaching a certain number on a scale or looking a certain way or improving a certain time. Like, perseverance is growth, and perseverance is like your why. And those two things, I think, are the advice I'd give to someone embarking on this journey. Is like, if you're going to focus on the scale or on a certain time, those are like requirements to jotting down the journey, or like keeping yourself like going in certain, okay, I want to hit this weight, I want to run this time. Those are part of the process, but the root of it is like growth. We as humans are born to grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. And if you can focus on every aspect of this triathlon journey or whatever journey you're on and like really rooted in growth, you will be sustained for far longer, because you can find growth in every single aspect. And then yeah, I would say that would be and then also the why is like also pretty important. Like, why you're doing what you're doing. If it's very surface level, it's going to run out.
Yeah.
If you can get it real deep, that why, it's going to be more sustainable, like for sure. And that's like with all things in life, I think.
Definitely. Have you ever faced burnout?
I was traveling the world. I was just getting like kind of famous on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like I had everything I really needed, and I'd strayed away from everything that I believed to be true and all my morals. And it just led me down a path of putting Jamie first, and really like putting myself at the forefront of the picture. And I would like to say that it's not that I was a bad person. I would like to believe that I've always been a quote unquote good person in terms of like trying to give back or trying to spread a good message or these sorts of things. But like really through my lens, it was first me, and then it was like, okay, how can I help this person? How can I do this, or whatever the case may be? And even that, putting yourself first, is like, I don't want to say the root of all evil, because that sounds really, really deep, but it is going to like lead you to the downfall. I've said this the other day in a podcast, like if the spotlight on you shines brighter than the light within you, it's going to kill you. So that was essentially what it was for me, and it wasn't like my own fault. It just was the world, like, or God just teaching me my ways. And then essentially what happened is I continued down that path because it looks all fancy and good, and the everything was coming so quick, until like I'd found myself just really messing up in life, hurting people, hurting myself, leading other people down the wrong path, and you know, that just brought me to my knees, as it does.
That was that year you mentioned was 2022, the Com Games. That was a massive year for you. No, I get how like things were really going well, and it was awesome for us to watch you compete in Birmingham. 22, we also competed there. The 20 seconds of courage.
Yay!
What does that ring a bell?
Yes, 20 seconds of courage, man. That is a beautiful quote that I've actually let slip. I don't say it enough, but it's just I'd come to, there were so many points in my sporting career, and in particular like on the field of play, like in the battle, in the moment, where like a moment presents itself and you have either the option to press on or lean out. And that like that moment or that decision is so finite, like it's so small that you yourself can make yourself believe that you pushed on when you even pushed out. Like really, when the demons are in your face screaming at you, you can lie to yourself and you can say, I didn't do it. So something that always like brought me back to that present moment was like that those demons came and they said hello, and it's like, okay, if I out loud or internally say 20 seconds of courage, I can do that. I know I can do that. And I do that, and it's like a break through a wall, and you go, because we always, one thing I've learned from sport is there is always more. We have always more to give. And I think that is so, so true. And that quote extends so much further. Like there's someone listening to this podcast right now that is really going through it, that has lost a family member, that is like can't pay their car off, for, you know, they can't even put gas in their car, and it's like, how am I going to get through this? And if they can just focus on 20 seconds of courage, and like it can take them a long, long way.
Nah, massive. I think what you guys do is actually, it's grueling, bro. Like it's you guys are some of the toughest people that I know, and I can't imagine after swimming for 2 kilometers, getting on a bike for over 100 kilometers, and then you still have to run. Like even if it's 100 meters, you still have to run after that. So you need that 20 seconds of courage through that competition or whatever you doing, be it training as well. Jamie, when would you say your breakthrough came for you in your career?
20
Was there a moment that you can pinpoint and you say, "Nah, this was it"?
There's been multiple moments in my sporting career where I felt that it's been like real breakthroughs, but as I'm getting further along this journey and like reflecting, taking a lot more time to grow myself in other facets, I'm starting to realize like I don't really know. Like obviously there's a surface level of what breakthrough means, and I understand that, and I can acknowledge that, and I can give you like three results right now that like says, okay, I've broken through, but ultimately, you know, I'm not where I want to be. So have I broken through? The question is still in the air. But you know, I think there's not one moment, but I think the first time someone came to me and said, "You inspire me," or the first time someone came to me and you know, said something that like meant something. I think that is, now looking back, that's really where like my breakthrough came, is like, okay, because if this is all about me, what is it worth? So I can't tell you who was the first person that ever said that, but I would say I would like to believe that my breakthrough came in that period. And then also like spiritual breakthrough, like really surrendering my life to the Lord is also something that I definitely pinpoint in my life, where I'm like, okay, I've now like really got my purpose.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. No, you can see it, because maybe someone would have waited for you to respond and say something you broke through and achieved. Like you said, you could mention a list of accolades and achievements, but it shows that what you're doing has purpose and you're doing it for a reason. But with that being said, what is the proudest moment then that you've had in your career? Now you can mention an event.
Yeah, exactly. I think, why am I like this? I think of the Olympics and I think, okay, that has to be the moment.
Yeah.
But then the first thought I get from the Olympics has absolutely nothing to do with the Olympics itself.
Yeah.
I remember I had completed the Olympics. I was in a real low like the next day. We went on like a little family vacation, and I remember we like booked a house in France, and I got up in the morning, the next day after the Olympics, and I went to go on my quiet time, and there was like a little with the Lord, and there was like a little river, and I remember sitting there, and I remember writing this like piece in my journal about like, what was it worth it? Like, was the Olympics worth it? So like, I don't want to say I hate that when you ask me what my proudest moment is,
because
but like for me it is the pinnacle, yeah, for me it is those breakthroughs, those like, I'm very I guess deep. I'm very like thought-provoking. So like that's what lights me a fire. Like the achievements, the results, it is all, I've come to realize it's all like wishy-washy. Like I couldn't care less if I came fifth in the Ironman or first, because there was a story in the fifth place, and that story was like it was meaningful, and it was and you know what, like not like 99.9% of people don't win, but whatever 60% of people have had come fifth in their life. So it was a story that meant more. But if we are being like results wise, I think I'm very proud of the fifth in the Ironman in South Africa. I'm very proud of going to the Olympics and putting my best foot forward, kind of. Extremely proud of the Commonwealth Games. There's a lot of results I'm really proud of. I think qualifying for the Olympics and how I did that with my back against the wall was something that really meant a lot to me. To really, and that's something I've always been good at, or always needed. I've needed to put my back against the wall. So even when it hasn't been, I found myself a way to put myself in that position, whether that's calling someone out or saying, I'm going to win, you know. It's something that's just been in me.
That's actually a question I wanted to ask. Like, even you getting into the professional space, like, you were never shy to just be like, the youngsters are here to do the thing, you know. Like, is it something that you've always had, or is it is it intentional because of what you say? You know, it brings out the best in you.
I only realized that it brings out the best in me recently in my last race. So it's always just been who I am, and it's not for myself, because I know what it's rooted in. I'm happy to be who I am. Like, I'm happy to not have to change that because I know what it's rooted in. Unfortunately, that sometimes comes off as maybe slightly arrogant or whatever the case may be, which is sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like I've always just kind of like looked at this as a game, and the more so I go into it, I realize that it is a game. And like chatting to people behind closed doors, like I believe everyone's got this in them. It's just like the confidence to be able to speak what you're actually thinking. That is pretty much it.
Do you have any race day superstitions or rituals?
Do I have any race day superstitions or rituals? No, not really. A little prayer, for sure.
Not even like an item that you can't race without, a clothing item or...
No, literally nothing. I don't believe in superstitions. Yeah, no.
There was a guy in our team that I won't mention his name, but he couldn't run on the field if he just accidentally puts on the socks the wrong way around. So our socks have got R for right and L for
I would
left.
be done then, because I've always got them on the wrong way around.
So even if he's like late and we're running late from the warm-up and he realizes, oh shucks, he won't even put his boots on before that was his thing. What has triathlon taught you? I can see there's been a lot of lessons, a lot of growth, which is amazing to watch and see, because like the guy that I met a couple of years back to the man that you are today, it's remarkable.
Thank you, sir. It's really taught me everything that I am today. And I mean that in the truest sense of the word. Like, embarking on this triathlon journey is extremely, extremely difficult. It is the hardest pursuit that I feel like I could have chosen for my life. And with that, I've knocked my head a lot. I've failed more times than I can count. I've struggled. I've won. I've been through the ringer. And ultimately, like the willingness to be a world champion has led me to learning so much more about myself than actually becoming world champion. Like, that's still the pursuit for sure. We South Africans, we want to win
for sure.
However, just what I've learned from it is the real win here, man. Real win.
Are there any big goals or events on the radar?
Yes, sir. I've got Ironman World Championships, which is around the corner in 9 weeks' time. That is the biggest one-day race in our sport. It's viewed over 10 million people worldwide. It's insane. That's the one thing that's funny. South Africa are out of the loop of the triathlon world, but it's pretty big overseas. So that race, and I'm back in the T100, which is a huge blessing.
Okay, and just before we wrap up with have you had any like big injuries or injuries in general, and how do you deal with them? As you say, it's quite taxing on the body.
When I was younger, I had like a really serious like injury that kind of was a question mark as to if I could even pursue the sport. I have bipart patella, which basically means both my patellas are split into two at birth, and because of that, there's
both on the left side and on the right.
Okay. So like it's just like the bone didn't fuse completely at birth, and it's like less than 1% of population have this. And what it does is it causes a lot of inflammation, and so you have like slight knee pain. And sometimes you grow out of it, sometimes you don't, and that was really, really difficult. Like, we talk about all these doors that the Lord opened for me and all these things, and that's another question. Like, we could go into a whole other flipping hour about like sportsmen and what happens if you get injured and these sorts of things. And that's a real question, but strong believer that like I grew out of that for a reason, and if something happens tomorrow, I know that the Lord has a plan for me, so I'm not too worried. I'm not going to say I wouldn't be very, very distraught and very sad, but I would pick myself up and find something.
You also mentioned having a why is important. What's your why?
I want to see less struggle in around me, and in particular South Africa, and that extends in so many facets. Like I've just seen a lot of struggle, a lot of struggle.
Yeah.
Like my domestic, we were just chatting now, literally before I came here, and it was pouring with rain, and like we looked outside and we're like, oh, it's so nice. Like it's so nice when it just pours with rain.
Yeah.
And then like for a second I was like, it is, but
The homeless.
but someone is sitting outside in the rain, like really hating this moment. And man, like I just really pray that my journey leads me to a place to really make an impact. And I don't say that superficially. Like I've said this before, like it's very easy to say what I just said,
Yeah.
but to do it is a whole nother aspect.
Amazing.
And the only way I can do that is hold enough tapes, garner a big enough audience to one day like really make a difference, and whether that be one life or 10 lives or 20 lives, whatever it is, that's the bigger purpose. Yeah.
And how's your family helped you get closer to that? And what impact have they played in your whole career?
It is the reason, right? So I had and still have like a lot of family struggles. Like my brother died of a drug overdose. Like there's been like my grandpa committed suicide, cancer. My sister's had cancer. Like there's been a lot of struggle in my family.
Yeah.
And looking back and reflecting on everything I've been through, a lot of the reason I am who I am today in terms of really like wanting to be the best in the world or really being hard on myself stems from, in my family, I feel like being the one that I felt like I always need to make sure that someone had a smile, or I was performing to like I don't want to say keep the family together, because that's not maybe the way to explain it, but there was just so much going on and everything was going okay or right with me.
Yeah.
And I felt this need to be the light in the family, to like guide everyone and keep everyone, like I don't want to say sane, but it just felt like that to me. Whether it was true or not, I can't say, but that's how it felt. So that like, I guess forged or like molded me into the person that you see here today.
Yeah.
And then like you talk about how has your family like led you to this understanding of what you want to do, the bigger purpose. Is like, okay, so I saw so much struggles in my family, but then I also saw so much love in my family and so much like support. So like, I think like if we look at the Bible, it's like we talk about all these sins and like how we need to like run away from sin and all these things. And like I think the original Hebrew definition of sin is to fall short of your purpose or your goal, and that's to be like God, be Christ-like, and be in the image of God. And what that means to me is to love God, and you can't love God without loving people. So that's like the first for me. Like when I look at my life, it's like, how can I love people? How can I love God? And then you've got your why.
Nice.
Yeah.
And your dad, lastly, your dad, seeing you now, how far you've come from running next to you, or maybe actually behind you. You were busy burning him, and to where you are now today.
I grabbed my phone because I wanted to show you this photo. That's my father and me. I don't know if the camera can see it, but like I can't answer for my father in terms of how proud he is. He has obviously taken his time to explain that to me and tell me how proud he is of me, and how of an enjoyment. It's not only for my father, my mother too. Like she is the number one supporter over Pops, in some sense. But I can't speak for them, but I can speak for myself when I say like I'm so grateful and I'm proud of my dad. Because like the reason my dad is so supportive in my dreams is because his dad did not let him dream. And it crushed him, and it allowed him to really foster a room for a dream for me. And I've seen him at his best and his worst in some sense, but that man is such a positive light. And the reason like I want to do good, it often stems back to my father. Like we talk about, he's done Ironman, he's been an age group world champ and these sorts of things, but we don't talk about him giving job opportunities to many African runners with Max Africa, getting them overseas to the Boston Marathon, getting people to podium over there, like taking his own salary to feed people. We had like a camp at home where I grew up, where we had like Africans like stay with us, and like everything that he's done. If anyone meets my father, they'll say that he has the wisdom and knowledge to be like, I guess, one of the wealthiest people in South Africa. But I always say he has never been wealthy, and he's never gonna be wealthy because he's too kind. And I love that about my father. Like he's got a heart of gold. So he's amazing. Dad, I love you.
Jamie, you also have a heart of gold, my man. And I just want to say thank you for your time. I'm really proud of the growth that you've shown over the years. And again, like, what you do is not easy. Each and every day that you put yourself out there, I love the way you see life and the way you look at life, and your sport and what you do drives you to think differently and tap into a way of thinking. Like even the Bible has analogies of training, and so I really, really love your mentality and your mindset. So thank you for your time, and thank you for sitting down and having a chat with me on today's episode. Thank you, Unshakeable family. It's really been incredible. I enjoyed sitting down with Jamie, and his story is truly one I think you will really enjoy. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time on the next episode. Cheers.
Thanks for tuning into Unshakeable. If today's story moved you, inspired you, or gave you something to think about, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, resilience isn't about being unbreakable. It's about staying rooted when the world shakes. If you haven't already, hit follow, leave a review, and help us grow this community of resilient voices. Until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, stay unshakable.